Hey, everybody. Good morning and welcome back to the ChatGTM podcast. I'm your host, Michael Beck, joined with me with my co-host, Mr. Chad Horn. Chad,
Hey,
how
Beck.
are you this morning?
We're doing great here in
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
How
Survived
deep?
the big blizzard.
How deep in the snowdrifts are you?
3 feet of, in the normal areas, but where they've pushed the snow into piles, it's over your head. So it's awesome times here.
And I imagine your herd of children are adorable and digging tunnels like moles through said snow berms and mounds and snowmen and Charlie Brown music playing in the background.
They will be when they get out of school. But
Oh,
yes.
I love
And
that.
I thought the artwork behind Chad was his, but maybe not.
Don't tell anybody it is. And you're in the green room right now, Christopher. I'm just kidding.
No, it's yes, all four have contributed to that madness.
If he lifts his fingers, you will see paint on the tips. It's all a fabrication. That's just what he does. Well, I guess that means since our green room guys leaked out of the green room, which we technically don't have, but that's okay because Christopher is a force unto himself. So I'm going to do a little read-in about our special guest here before we get going. And like many of our guests, if you don't know who he is, you're probably new to our industry, been living under a rock, or denial of what's actually happening in the world. But for now, let me give you an introduction to today's guest. And this is one I absolutely love to announce because Christopher has been a great friend and mentor to me over the years. He's one of our board members that came on when we started the company. But as an intro, Christopher is a titan of restaurant technology. He's going to blush on this one. From managing five-star hotels globally to founding the world's first Windows POS. Yes, the first Windows POS came from this mind. Christopher built the infrastructure that is a big part of our industry and what it relies on today as a foundation. As the former president of Xenial, he led the tech suite used by over half of the top 50 QSR brands. Today, he's tackling the industry's next frontier, growing guest counts. Today, we're talking about sitting down with Christopher to tell a story about Incentive. It's a platform designed to be the absolute fastest way to grow your customer count with targeted digital ads. Please welcome a true hospitality pioneer, visionary, and true friend, and the man of the hour, as you're famous for saying, Christopher. Tick-tock, the clock is ticking, the time is yours. Welcome to the show, Christopher Sebes.
Thank you, Beck.
Welcome,
Hi, Chad.
Christopher.
Great to be here.
You've been my friend for years, and I'm still starstruck every time I have you around for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's the shirt.
Don't know why either.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
The first question our listeners need to know, where do you buy your shirts from?
I buy my shirts from Robert Graham.
Robert Graham. Yeah. So for everybody listening, my first experience in sales with Christopher, I went to work for him at Expient. I got us a meeting at Habit Burger. And up until that day, I was an IBM blue suit kind of guy. I wore the blue suit. There was a study that IBM did a long time ago that says people in blue suits sell more product. So I was coming in with my tie, my blue suit. We rocked in the door, and my brain screamed at me when Christopher walked in the door wearing canary yellow pants and a very colorful shirt. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I had been programmed. And that was my first introduction to pattern interruption. You weren't like anybody else. You march the tune of your own drum, and you carry authority with it and give zero fucks. Excuse the language, guys, but this is really, this is why I love Christopher. He's his own thing.
I think that's a good outline of who I am.
Yeah. Well, brilliant too. But yeah, and to meet you, when I first met you, I was terrified because I'll say this also. If you guys pull up a screenshot of Sir Charles Laughton, an actor from the movie Mutiny on the Bounty, Christopher does have a little resemblance there, but you wouldn't realize he is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. He's funny, he's talented, he's an onophile, knows wine like the back of his hand. And he also is the husband of Dr. Melissa Hughes, a neuroscientist who is now putting out a really interesting solution that we'll talk a little bit about at the end of this call. You're in the middle of all the best things, living your best life.
I am. I feel like Incentive is my third career. So I had a career in restaurants and hotels. And then for some inexplicable reason fell into restaurant technology in 1992. As you said, we started a company called 2020 that was the first Windows-based point of sale, and then founded Expient in 2001, and then Xenial, and now with my co-founder Seth Temko, who I was fortunate to work with as my CMO, we founded Incentive, and it's definitely a third career, and I'm learning more than I thought I would ever learn about marketing and advertising, none of which I really know anything about.
Well, you're about to teach us some stuff, I think.
Seth will grade my performance later to see if I taught you anything.
Okay. Well, we'll have to have Seth on too to talk about his side of this at some point as well.
Well, his side is the brains. It's very frightening. He's the brains and I'm the good looks. That's very scary. But yeah, we've had a lot of fun with incentive. It's morphed over time. We built it. We thought we built it for SMB restaurants,
Mm-hmm.
and it turns out that we didn't build it for that. So it's the first advertising intelligence platform that maximizes ROAS. I had to learn what that was. Return on advertising spend.
Ooh.
For local and multinational campaigns using this proprietary geo-targeting data, AI-powered optimization, and we scale with precision. So it's not a scattershot approach. It's very, very focused and it's very efficient. So what I have learned is that the platforms like Google and Meta and others, they will eventually find your audience after you spend gobs of money for them to kind of hone in on the people you're actually looking for. And what we have done to help people not spend gobs of money is to use data to create these effectively 1 kilometer radii that contain the people that you want to reach for whatever criteria. We use US Census data, we use location data like hotels, stadiums, the restaurants data. If you think about ingesting a restaurant's delivery data, your catering deliveries or your first party deliveries, we'd ingest that data and then we'd build these block groups, one kilometer in circumference, that we would target very narrowly. So, typically people say, well, my restaurant is here and I want to target a 5-mile radius around my restaurants. But what if your customers are not there? What if your customers are inside a 1 kilometer radius and your restaurant may not be in that circle? We create a virtual location in the center of that 1 kilometer. So we provide the platforms with an address. It could be a cemetery, could be, as long as it's a physical address that's in the center of that circle. And then we have eliminated the need to go out here and narrow in. We've already narrowed in. So that's a very long explanation, but it provides a very high return on the advertising spend. You share this kind of thesis with a marketing expert or an agency, a marketing agency, and in a nanosecond they get it.
The lights come on.
Because nobody's doing.
Christopher, we're going to go into detail with incentive, but before we do, because you know the industry so well and the tech side of the industry, I'm sure people would like to know how you think about it at a high level. Zoom out and talk about what's going on the tech side of the industry, because you could have chosen to do anything and you chose this. So what's the larger picture that you're plugging into?
Well, the world does not need another point of sale. I mean,
Really?
let's be clear. Really? Yeah. Anybody that's listening to Beck's podcast and is thinking of building a point of sale, call me. I will be happy to talk you out of it. So I think, Chad, to answer your question more seriously, there are innumerable technology point solutions that would probably be better being a feature in a broader platform than a standalone product. And I think that inevitably there'll be some consolidation of those point solutions over the next 3 to 5 years. And I think both Seth and I wanted to create something that had some unique characteristics, and we did not want to create a Me Too solution. And I'm not sure that's easy to do in the broader technoscape of restaurants. Perhaps you could create a really unique AI first solution, and I've had thoughts about doing that, but we did this and we're having fun, and I'm very proud that we have A, raised no money, and B, are profitable.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I never
Definitely helps.
understood that whole burn thing.
Christopher, when you guys were sitting down, you had a blank sheet of paper, or maybe Seth was already on the way when he brought you into the project. But thinking about when we make solutions, we're solving a problem. What was the problem? And I know you said a little bit in the preamble here, but what was the thing you're really solving?
Well, so various platforms they don't talk to each other. It's the same problem as, POS and back office and
Siloed
reporting.
information. Yep.
So they do have tools that automate a little bit, but there isn't a way to create a campaign. There wasn't a way to create a campaign that would work on Meta and Google's platform, for example. So it takes a good person that's experienced can create about 7 campaigns a day. So a campaign being defined as a Meta campaign, a TikTok campaign, a Google campaign. Well, if you think about, if you had 100 restaurants,
Yep.
and you wanted to launch a campaign for those 100 restaurants on Google and Meta, that's 200 campaigns, and you can do 7 a day. That's 29 days.
And you're dumping money into a bucket that gets spread out across.
First of all, you're paying somebody to work for 29 days. That's almost 6 man weeks of work to create these campaigns. By the time you have finished, the reason that you wanted to launch the campaigns long past. You missed the boat. And so we said, if you could do this from a single place across multiple platforms, and you could automate it so that you relieved the grunt work from people whose job it was to do that, you could make people more valuable, and you'd save quite apart from the fact that you might generate business because of the campaigns, you'd save people lots of money by having automated it. And we're able, our busiest day in 2025, we launched over 400 campaigns in less than 10 minutes.
Wow.
So, yeah, we did 4,000 and change campaigns for Verizon last year. See, I told you we built it for restaurants, and our biggest customer is a telecom. So go figure.
Well, you're multi-vertical, right?
We are multi-vertical. Yes.
Love it. Shadow.
So, Christopher, in the loyalty space, I'm seeing a trend of loyalty companies with the messaging to the guests do what I'll call one-to-one marketing, like tailoring every offer campaign to the individual. And this seems analogous to that because you're helping the brand tailor its marketing and their ads to the location and the targeted area around a given location. What have you learned is the essence of an optimized location-based ad? What is it tapping into?
Well, could be tapping into all kinds of different characteristics of a block group. So we have a partnership with Mike Lukianoff at Signal Flare, where we're able to ingest his data set that is restaurant specific, where we can look at brand affinity and score the brand affinity for a 1 kilometer block group, so that we know that when we look at 10 block groups around a given location, we can score those block groups so we can help a brand spend their money most judiciously. Marketers, I think by default, say, well, we should spend the money for the poorest performing stores. And we say, no, let's spend the money where it has the biggest result. So the other thing that our platform does using AI is that it optimizes your spend not only across the stores that will benefit the most, but also across the platforms. So you might start out saying, well, I'm going to spend $1,000. And typically you'd say, well, I'm going to spend $1,000 and I've got 3 stores, $300 a store, and I'm going to spend half on Google and half on Meta. You might start out that way, and our platform would optimize, takes about 5 days to optimize. But we would say, no, we're getting much better results on Google. So let's spend 70% of the money on Google. And this one store is generating much more interest than the other two. Let's spend more money on that one store because that's where it's going to bear fruit. So it is hyper local and hyper effective.
So then that sounds like there's some kind of reporting mechanism that allows the, classic A/B testing where our money's getting the best results for the buck. Does it tune that spend?
That A/B testing is absolutely spot on, but it's all automated. The platform does the A/B testing.
So you'll wake up the next day and see it made moves that it adjusted
absolutely. You'll get reporting. You can log on and get reporting, and you also will get reporting delivered to your inbox, so you don't have to log on. And we're seeing results that are kind of off the charts in comparison to industry standards.
Can you share a little bit of that?
I don't know if I'm smart enough, but
it's a lot.
It's like 3 to 4x the industry standard for impressions and click-through rate. It's pretty extraordinary.
It's awesome. Christopher.
It is awesome. Yes.
With AI and any automation with AI, especially around creative, there's still some skepticism or trust that needs to be built for marketing people to go, here you go. I trust you with that. How do you guys show and build that trust with marketing so that they know, their brand's going to look good in the market?
We get their trust by not creating creative, not using AI and not using any other method. Our customers provide the creative.
Oh, okay. Missed that piece.
Yeah, I am maybe the least creative person I know. That's not true of Seth, but it is true of me. And we have played with the ability to use AI to do creative, but as you said, there's lots of slips twixt cup and lip.
Ooh, I love that thing
in AI, and I don't think it's yet at the point where a brand would say that they would trust not us, but they would trust AI to understand their brand voice and generate creative that would hit the mark. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we consume the creative, we can lock down the creative so that in the case of the franchisor saying, here's a library of creative that my franchisees can use, we lock down that library, and the franchisee would only be able to select creative for a given campaign from a franchise-approved library.
Yeah, brand standards and all that fun, right?
Yeah.
But knowing that, well, at least what I think I know. So Seth also has a company himself, full on strategy, that has the creative part of his agency. Is that something that you invoke for your clients to say, listen, if you don't have a creative asset, this is something you could use, or has he divested himself from that?
No, absolutely. We would do that, but we wouldn't do it. That wouldn't be an incentive product. That'd be Seth's company is called Full On Strategy.
Yeah.
And they would certainly be able to provide creative.
Yeah, and he's got an insanely talented team over there. Jason Demma and his crew do a really good job. They know their stuff.
They do,
for sure.
And the other,
go ahead.
We have no contracts, and we charge no SaaS.
How do you make money?
I'm glad you asked. We rob banks.
Oh, how cool is that? Everybody's looking at ads. You're robbing the bank.
Money is.
Well, of course, go to Fort Knox.
We simply take a percentage of the ad spend.
That makes sense.
And if we don't perform, you'll stop using us, right? No contract, no minimums, none of that.
Wow.
It's very different.
When you started this, I mean, you're seasoned, you know this industry, you know a lot of different things, a lot about it, a lot of different pieces of tech out there, and you're still a student. What was the thing you learned in this as you're stepping into this part of your third chapter here, looking at this kind of technology, the myth that was busted for you, or what was the big revelation that made, I really need to be part of this?
Well, I realized that I didn't know anything about
there's wisdom.
This business. And so I was very intrigued to learn about an entirely new kind of adjacent business. It's exciting to be able to impact the top line for people instead of saying, I can save you some money on your costs. Growing the top line I've never really played in that space in my technology career previously. So that was interesting.
Mm.
And then solving this automation problem was very interesting. We were very lucky, I think. They're two brothers, they're twins, who lived in their parents' basement in Toronto, insanely talented, who found Seth and I separately, so another coincidence, on LinkedIn looking for advice because they had built a POS. And my advice was,
Don't.
stop and let's talk about collaborating on building incentive. And so they became our two other partners. So we are four partners that started the business, and they are prolific and very talented. So we're very lucky.
Very cool.
So
Well,
luck
sometimes
is
it's timing, right?
is always a thing, right?
Yes, it is. Chad?
And it's great to surround yourself with A, smarter people, and maybe you learn something, and B, younger people, and maybe you don't age, or not quite as quickly. So it's all selfish.
Of course.
Was that? I mean, I wasn't thinking, but you shared that story, and it's so interesting. I've talked to a lot of founders, and sometimes they're right on the money with what they're building. The industry needs it, and other times, like, not as bad as POS. I usually won't even have those conversations. But like, oh, this isn't a good idea. This is already oversaturated. You're not bringing anything new or fresh.
Yeah.
But to get them to move off and like pursue another direction is not easy. How big of a lift was it to get these brothers to change direction on what they were building?
It was easy. I mean, it really was, because there's an almost endless inventory of horror stories about building POS for restaurants. And
why am I visualizing a classic intervention with their family sitting in a circle around them and you leading the intervention?
And I was very impressed with what they'd built, because they'd built POS, labor scheduling, inventory, loyalty, and online ordering, just the two of them in their basement, and they had it deployed in 2 or 3 restaurants. So, but we convinced them that that's not where the market was, that there are just too many, especially in the small and medium business space. There's a POS a day. What you were saying about sometimes you talk to people that have a solution in search of a problem, or another Me Too solution.
Yeah.
And
A lot of Me Too.
Yeah. And I think they were excited about the opportunity to create something that really wasn't a Me Too. I mean, Seth and I have both looked hard to find competitors to what we do. And there are some, that we would like to find somebody that exactly what we do, because it's very validating, but we haven't been able to. We found people that do sort of things that are adjacent to what we do some of what we do, but don't have the automation, or have some automation, but don't have a platform. Don't have the data, or people that have data, but don't have a way to actualize on that data. I mean, the data's useless if you don't do something with it.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a program for the National Restaurant Show that we are going to take to other shows that I think is very differentiating. If you're an exhibitor at a large show like the NRA, to get noticed, it's $100,000 to sponsor the lanyard at the NRA.
Yeah.
It's $100,000 to wrap 4 buses for the NRA. And so what we did is there are 3 1-kilometer areas in Chicago, 1 around McCormick, and 2 in the Loop. In those 3 1
like
kilometer,
the Magnificent Mile area, that stuff there.
Well, where people stay when they go to Chicago, there are 55,000 hotel rooms in our 3 circles, and one of them includes McCormick Place. So we are targeting ads on Meta and Google that would say, for example, don't miss Ink Tank at the show. We're in booth whatever. Now, during the early morning and evening, maybe we're targeting the hotel block groups. And during the day, we're targeting the McCormick block group. And it's a very cost effective. A brand is going to spend maybe $15,000 to do NRA, and we're going to do other shows, Food on Demand and FS Tech, because the smart people want to stand out from the crowd.
Yeah.
And this is a way to do that without sinking gobs of money into, the room key or the right.
I can't tell how many times I've ridden that bus, picked up the magazine, threw it in the garbage on the way in the door, and never read it. Right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Lots of people have done that.
Yeah.
Michael.
And what's sparking to me when you're saying this is clearly the other use cases here, which is sporting events, concerts, things where you're having an insane amount of people coming into town, and all of a sudden you can localize this, the traffic and the timing. This sounds really, really. This sounds sexy.
If you're Chili's and you have 3 Chili's that are proximate to an NFL stadium, why wouldn't you target that NFL stadium during that game and provide some incentive for
and the places by which the people stay that go to that game?
Absolutely. I mean,
I love that.
So we
very efficient.
Yeah, it's very efficient. It's very cost effective.
So let's talk a little bit about.
I get very excited.
Let's talk a little bit about intellectual cross pollination here, right? So, and I don't know if there's an answer to it, but I'm very curious. So you cohabitate with an extremely smart individual, Dr. Melissa Hughes, neuroscientist.
I cohabitate.
You cohabitate. What's up, Melissa? If you're listening,
she's not here.
But has that conversation? I'm sure it has, right? But because she's very interested in human behavior, what makes people, what motivates people, how they're wired. Do you guys consider any of the psychological aspects of this marketing, targeting, how it works, how people receive this information? Is that a jam?
Well, we've talked about the whole neuromarketing. There is a big practice of neuromarketing, but no, I mean that's a very interesting idea. I'm going to steal that now back.
That's how we do.
Yeah, we not, but
this is like office moment.
Like
literally,
very interesting topic.
Use the person in your house.
Yeah,
I would love her take, because the kind of ads and the messaging you might do as a creative team when you're that targeted might change versus like, hey, this is going to go out to a broader audience. Some people will care, some people won't. Different toolkit becomes possible.
Yes, and I think you find really interesting. Like we mapped the catering deliveries for a client, and we found that 3 1-kilometer radii contained 38% of their catering revenue. Well, there's got to be, mining those areas has got to deliver results, because you're already getting close to 40% of your revenue from those 3 1-kilometer areas. So you're right. When you think about that, you would target ads that maybe would say, other people in other businesses in this neighborhood buy from Joe's Deli. You should too. I'm not a marketer, so I'm the wrong guy. I'm the wrong guy to design the ad.
Well, since you're not designing the ad, I'm there are agencies that do that, right? And so I'm curious. It seems like you'd be a natural partner to agencies that do that creative work, because you offer the automation they don't know anything about.
And we take nothing away from the agency, and our business model allows us to share revenue with the agency. And that's what we're doing. Our largest customer, as I said, is Verizon. And that's what we're doing with their agency.
On the subject of agencies, knowing the agencies use tools that support multiple clients simultaneously. So is this an agency tool to where they could say they have Verizon in this bucket, they're working with this brand in this bucket, they're working with this brand in this bucket, in their own discrete campaign lanes?
Oh, they absolutely can. And they can manage them all from a single place. They can upload a list of stores in a spreadsheet. And we try to eliminate the misery of data entry, repetitive data entry. So we've made it very agency friendly.
Chad, can I cut you off?
Tell all your agency friends to call me.
So this seems to be such a no-brainer, but biggest barrier is always the status quo. What aspects of the status quo are hardest for brands to give up that make them not able to benefit from this until they get over it?
Ooh, an object in motion continues in motion unless acted on by equal or opposite force.
And it's a different way of looking at advertising. I think it requires a bit of a mind shift. So yeah. So you have to convince them, much less convincing to do for an agency than for a restaurant operator.
So with that in mind, and the fact that you don't have contracts, it tells me you could play with the solution, see how it works for you, as opposed to just going cannonballing all in.
Yeah.
Set up a small budget and just and test it against what you're doing. Is that what you're kind of you're set up with?
Absolutely. We expect you to tell us, prove it, show me.
So what's onboarding like?
We need information. We need very little information. We need your we need the Google and Meta and TikTok account information, and we need to know the physical locations of the addresses that you want to target, and we need to know. Well, we can derive the spend in two ways. How many customers do you want? And we will calculate how much you need to spend to drive that level of customer acquisition. Or you can tell us, I've got X dollars to spend. So onboarding is very easy, Michael.
Awesome.
Not tricky.
I have a comment and then a question. So first, I just want to say I'm excited to partner with you guys. I mean, we're heading into trade show season, so thinking about helping our clients target those strategic areas at and around a show, pretty exciting because it is hard to get the attention.
Yeah, I think it's very differentiating. Yeah, it's just a different way of looking at how you might target. And, at a show that's small, or not even small, but is in a single hotel, like we would target Caesars for Murtec.
Right. It's not CES, right? We're talking.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have to target the whole of Vegas. You do this
locally,
and a 1 kilometer radius with Caesars in the middle would be mostly Caesars. Still, because of big, it's big surface areas. Yeah, it is very exciting.
A lot of shows coming up, so we're going to
a lot of shows.
Flex our muscles on this a lot.
Yeah,
I want to make sure in the time we talk more about Dr. Melissa Hughes and what she's working on. And talk a little bit before we hit record. Could you expound on what she's working on?
So Melissa has developed something called a cognitive blueprint. It is in the way that DISC and Myers-Briggs are personality inventories. This uses, you answer a series of questions and it uses neuroscience to deliver your preferred working style. And it's frighteningly accurate. I encourage you to take it. It is very spot on. There is you get a kind of quick scorecard, but then you can get a 75-page report that digs into how you work, how to recognize when stress is pivoting you to work a bit differently. It's very fascinating. I'll have Melissa send you guys the blueprint test, and then you'll be shocked, I think. And
then we can have her on the show to talk about it.
Really can't wait.
Yeah, I encourage you to do that.
I forecast mine as a bag of cats.
Christopher, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm imagining that could also be a playbook for colleagues of the person to look at how do I best work with this person.
For teams to figure out how to work with each other, for managers to figure out, hey, this is how I should manage Chad because I know what his work style is and I know how he reacts under stress, and I've put him under stress. So here's a better way I could manage.
Well, yeah, let's get the invite out to Melissa, have
All
her
right.
on here. Definitely send the assessment. We'll
I
happily take
will.
it. And maybe
All
we can
right.
do a little use case on our side and share that with folks.
That'd be great.
All right. Well, it's time officially to land the plane. And as such, our tradition has become to do a little bit of a quick rapid fire 6 or 7 question set of questions. This is all fast off the cuff, which you're very
So
good at,
nervous
Sire.
now.
Oh, I know you need to be very afraid. But let's just see how it goes. All right, you ready? Here we go. What's the first thing you do every morning that sets the tone for your day?
Make coffee.
Love it. In his Jura machine, I know. All right.
Yes.
If you could have any superpower for 1 week in business, what would it be and why?
I'd like to understand the mind of my customers. That'd be my superpower.
That's why you married who you married. All right. So what's the most unexpected lesson you've learned from the restaurant tech world?
Nothing happens in the time that you expect it.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
Mhm.
So yes, enterprise sales is not for the weak.
No. If your career were a movie genre, what would it be and who plays you? Now, I can't do the casting because I'm biased.
Now, I think you should do the casting. I think it might be a bit of an English comedy, perhaps.
Okay.
Maybe I don't know if comedy noir is a genre, but
Fish Called Wanda, I think fits.
Yes, Fish. I love that film. Yes. John Cleese is my hero.
Okay.
But I don't think he can play me.
No. Yeah, you're more Terry Gilliam type.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You have to cast me.
Okay,
So.
okay. We'll let you know. I'll do it in AI. We'll see how it turns out.
Okay.
All right. What's one thing most people don't know about you that might surprise them?
I started out my career cooking.
Okay. And if you could go back to the early 2020 days and give yourself a 30-second pep talk, what would it be?
Don't worry that they repoed your car. Don't worry that they foreclosed on your house. It will be all right in the end.
See, Chad, we're doing good. And then the last question, a book you think every founder should read.
Back.
And it can't be by Dr. Melissa Hughes.
Oh, well, see, that's not fair. That's not fair. I don't know. Maybe Scaling Up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm absolutely with that.
There are many.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a voracious reader. That's one of my guilty pleasures.
Is there a book in you coming?
There is not a book in me coming. I don't think. I don't think I'm interesting enough.
You are really freaking interesting, but it's people say they aren't that are the most. Well, Christopher, it's been a joy. It went by so freaking fast.
It did.
You are one of my favorite people in the industry for so many reasons. You are wise, you are funny, you're sophisticated, and you're irreverent. You cover all the bases in a well-rounded person. I just love to be around. I'm excited for the journey that you and Seth are taking. Here's what I love to see, Chad, and I'm probably gonna get shot in the face next time I see Christopher or Seth for saying this. I would pay as much money as I have in the bank to see both you guys, Christopher dressed as Gandalf and Seth dressed as a Hobbit. Ooh. I would have the best Halloween ever.
Well, I want to know, my last question. How much money is in your bank account?
Not enough to get that to happen.
Well, you call me when there is.
Okay, that would be awesome. Well, everybody, as always, I just want to close with saying thank you for being part of our audience. Thank Christopher for being our gracious guest, and thank you for the things you're doing for our industry to improve the lives of the operators out there. And it's this what I think I heard was incentive isn't just for restaurants; it's for anybody who wants to do smart advertising spend in a localized area for special events or targeted campaigns when it comes to getting to your exact people where they are and when it matters most. I absolutely love that. Boom! You're gonna keep that soundbite. But for now, everybody, this has been the ChatGTM podcast. And our closing statement, as always, is random acts of kindness. Please sprinkle those everywhere. You never know whose day you're going to make better. Just like Christopher just made our morning bright just for who he is. Shine that light everywhere you go. But for now, everybody, thank you so much. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.
Thanks for having me.
See you, Christopher.
Bye.